Hello and a very warm welcome. Good morning from Arizona. I'm joined by Professor Anand Desai from Mumbai, home of the Mumbai Indians, home of Wankhede Stadium, and of course, home of the BCCI. And of course, welcome to Dr. Jalal Baig, who is in Chicago, soon to be making an international travel to enjoy the United Kingdom as well. So, welcome Anand and welcome Jalal.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So the Border Gavaskar Trophy is 3 test matches are done. It's 1-1 at the moment. The Brisbane test match, which was the last test match at the Gabba, which India has great memories, of course, with the Rishabh Pant heroics. But this time, the rain played the heroics, I would say. That was the spoil sport, and the test match ended in a draw. But a couple of noteworthy things that came out, in my opinion, was, of course, the rearguard action of the Indian tailenders, how they stepped up to the plate, the 10th wicket partnership. People talk about Jasprit Bumrah as a bowler, but as somebody with the bat, as well as Akash, both of them with the bat saved some grace for Team India. And the test match ended in a draw. So first of all, let me go to Professor Desai. Your quick thoughts on the Brisbane test match, and how does it augur well for India moving to the boxing test in Melbourne and subsequently in Sydney? How, I mean, when you have a draw, Professor, one team thinks that, oh, we won that draw, the drawn test match. The other team that, oh my God, thank God we just lucked out that, it was ended in a draw and we did not lose the test match. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we lucked out, no question about it. I think we made a backdoor entry, so it was a backdoor exit. So I think my concerns with the batting remain. There's no question. I think and the concerns with the bowling, besides Bumrah, who else? So I think those are main concerns. They remain, and these were bowling wickets. They were bowling friendly tracks. Melbourne and Sydney, certainly, I'm not so sure if they're going to be as bowling friendly. So then those gaps may get actually widened. One doesn't know. So we'll see. Yeah, that's my immediate reaction.
And
Go
ahead, Professor.
No, so I mean, what do you, how do you, Jalal, from the outside? I'm just wondering, and from the outside, how do you see it? How do you see India? What's the talk generally?
I think from the outsider's perspective, obviously we're quite impressed by India's victory initially, and then when the second test happened, we thought the balance was kind of reestablished by Australia. And I'll be very honest. I think it was a backdoor exit for India in the third test. I completely agree. If Mother Nature didn't intervene, I think that this could have been very difficult for India, despite Australia collapsing in the second inning, which is, I think, something that India can maybe pounce on as a positive, as a silver lining to move on. And I think there are some positives to take. I think the resistance that India showed in that inning with KL Rahul, and then the lower order as well. And then I think it's very heartening to see the bowling performance in the second inning as well. So definitely some positives that India has to take and absolutely will take onto the fourth test. So a backdoor exit, sure, but also some positives to collect on the way.
So Melbourne and Sydney are slated to be the fourth and fifth test matches of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. But one of the things that happened during this particular test match in Brisbane was Rohit Sharma coming into the press conference along with Ravichandran Ashwin. And this takes me back to Bridgetown, Barbados, after India had won the T20 World Cup in June. And when Rohit Sharma in the press conference suddenly says that I am announcing my retirement from international T20 cricket. And Ashwin shows up and lo and behold, Professor, R. Ashwin has exited international cricket. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it was sudden, and he leaves quite a legacy. I just have some statistics that I was just looking at. Joint most player of the series awards in Tests he holds along with Muralitharan. But what is useful to note that he has a better strike rate. He played 44 series, 11 player of the series awards in 44 series, total series that he played. Murli did it in 61 series. And Muralitharan is as good as they get, right? So which actually brings me to the other point. He is second behind only Ian Botham in terms of having scored a century and taken 5 wickets in an innings, which is what probably, when you put in all-round performances is what then gets you man of the series. So he was vital. He was, I think, significant to the Indian cause. Second most 5-wicket hauls after Muralitharan. There is a wide gap, of course. Muralitharan 67, and then second most with Shane Warne at 37. Fastest to reach 250 wickets, fastest to reach 300 and 350 wickets. Of course, when it comes to India, and that when it comes to among the Indian bowlers, I mean, he has a formidable record, as Harsha Bhogle in his tribute very nicely put it. He says he's the fastest Indian bowler to take 50 wickets and 100 wickets and 150 wickets and 200. He says it almost feels like an auction, and that's the point that that's a very appropriately kind of mentioned this. So I mean, he's formidable. Let me ask you a question here, and I don't know. It's an open question to both of you. He's one among those only 3 all-rounders to have achieved the double of 3,000 runs and 500 wickets. Can you name the other 2?
Kapil Dev.
No, Kapil Dev took 434 wickets. I'm talking about 500 wickets and 3,000 runs. So, okay, I mean, this is... yeah, not many to have taken 500 wickets. So, I mean, that's a slight giveaway. One is Shane Warne, the other is Stuart Broad. I mean, these are not yes. So, I mean, that's he sits among these greats. We can call Shane Warne certainly, Stuart Broad, because of the longevity, because of just the number of years that he played. I think I mean. So Ashwin is as good as it gets for India. The most number of wickets in India, of course. So in Indian conditions, he was second to none.
Yeah, I think I think statistics notwithstanding, in terms of Ashwin's performances outside India, where arguably the tracks are not as spin friendly, which makes it less conducive for spinners to get wickets. So we understand that part, but a bowler and his success is measured by the number of wickets, the average, how many balls does it take to take a wicket. People talk about Curtly Ambrose and how many balls it would take him to get the next wicket. When you factor everything about R. Ashwin, would it be fair to say that criticism about his relative lack of success in the countries outside India is a factor, or you don't think it is a big deal?
I mean, I think, not many. If you're talking about outside India, I think he has a decent record outside India. You're talking about spinning the Sena Nations. I think you're talking about Sena Nations. So that's where 72 wickets and about 26 tests. That's certainly not a very great record. But then, in those countries, it's much like, a lot of bowlers. James Anderson doesn't have a great record in India, right? So, I mean, it's much like that. So, I mean, where some amount of assistance is there, then you can produce. But I think he will certainly look at that as a slight something that he could have plugged. Certainly, looking back.
Yeah. And Jalal, the timing of his retirement, Rohit Sharma in the press conference officially said that he actually had to persuade him to play the pink ball Adelaide Test match. And Ashwin probably knew that in this tour he's not going to get that many opportunities. So perhaps this was lingering in the back of his mind all along, but almost persuaded to play in a test match, and then you come and suddenly announce the timing. As a fan of cricket, when a star of that magnitude comes and makes an announcement like that,
Sure. Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
When a player of Ashwin's magnitude kind of leaves so unceremoniously and without the kind of exit a player of his caliber truly deserves, it's certainly disappointing. I think any player of his caliber, you would have hoped would have had a far greater exit, match-winning bowling spell, or at the very least, getting a send-away test in India, where his family was present as well. So you would hope for a much warmer, much more celebrated exit. This was quite disappointing the way he left. The optics of it were not great, given how suddenly the announcement came. Then there was an admission from his father as well. He made a statement and said, well, there was a lot of humiliation that was going on, and this was getting very embarrassing. So I know Ashwin won't make that statement publicly, but our fathers, as I know my father knows what's really going on because we have very candid conversations. So his father I think, certainly led us on to what was going on in the background. I think Ashwin felt slighted. He felt embarrassed. He felt as though he wasn't being treated properly. And so someone as him, he may have been impulsive in the decision, but he decided, if you're not going to play me, then, hell with you. I'll just take my exit right now.
And there's some news that one heard that his father actually booked tickets for the Melbourne and the Sydney Test. Yeah, to go down to Australia. There's some reports there.
Yeah, there was. Yes. So right when his father's statement came out, Ashwin tweeted in response to that and kind of said, oh, my father doesn't have media training. Please forgive him and just let him alone. So pretty much the father let the cat out of the bag, and
no question.
He tried to do damage control. I saw that.
Talking about continuing to talk about cricket, we quickly move on to Pakistan cricket. And of course, a lot of action happening of late. Some good news, some bad news. First, we'll share with you about the Champions Trophy that India and Pakistan will be playing at neutral venue. It's official now, probably in Dubai. And until 2027, India and Pakistan will not be playing either in India or Pakistan. So that's the official news from the ICC. But in terms of the current state of Pakistan cricket, if you look at the last scorecard, it would be fair to say that Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan were back, Jalal?
Absolutely. I'll just preface everything by saying Pakistan is currently a tale of formats. So every format has its own story. I think Pakistan is still finding itself in the test format, still remains adrift. Even in T20s, Pakistan remains adrift. They're 7th in the rankings, still playing anchor cricket with 2 anchors, no modern approach, no middle order. And with Pakistan losing 3-0 in Australia and then losing the South Africa series 2-0 in the T20s, obviously that's all evidence of that. But what we should talk about is one days, where Pakistan seems to really be thriving and seems to be really coming together at the right time, right as we're on the cusp of the Champions Trophy. Pakistan won in Australia 2-1, they won in Zimbabwe 2-1, and then they're up 2-0 in the South Africa series. And I think a lot of positives to take. I think after 22 innings in which Babar Azam had not scored a 50, he finally returned and looked like his former self in Cape Town yesterday. And Rizwan also joined him, and we saw them play more or less their usual way. They like to play slow, measured innings. But it seemed like a return to form for both of them, which will be very heartening for Pakistan as we come close to the Champions Trophy. But I think even more so than Rizwan and Babar, it's been the emergence of Saim Ayub. Saim Ayub is now finally the star seems to be rising. He played incredibly well in Australia in the one-day series. He hit his first ODI century against Zimbabwe, then had an incredible knock of 98 not out against South Africa in the last T20, and then had an incredible match-winning inning in the in the chase against South Africa in the first one day. So Saim Ayub, an individual that's been talked about a lot as being Pakistan's next Saeed Anwar, next big thing, wonder kid. Seems like his time has finally come. He has the necessary experience, and the star is finally rising as we expected it to. Rizwan and Babar are doing well. The lower order, middle order seems to be coming together with Kamran Ghulam, Salman Agha, and this new boy they found, Irfan Khan. And then obviously the Pakistani pace attack has always been quality with Shaheen Afridi, Naseem Shah, and Haris Rauf. Shaheen was just absolutely incredible yesterday in his 4-wicket spell, which won the match for Pakistan. I haven't seen him ball this well. The way he was reverse swinging and getting movement, it was incredible. He hasn't balled this well, I think, in any spell since his injury 2 years ago. And Pakistan is also keeping him out of the test series against South Africa. So I think Pakistan is trying to limit his mileage, limit his injury risk, trying to do some workload management. And so maybe just focusing on white ball in the near future might get the best out of him for the Champions Trophy.
That's a nice summary of the state of Pakistan cricket, particularly in the ODI format, where they clearly are showing their superiority and stamp. Anand, as we conclude the show, your thoughts on the Boxing Day Test match, where, from what I read, is a sellout crowd to be 90,000 buzzing fans. And guess one of the fans in that crowd will be Archan Mehta. He's going to be attending the Boxing Day Test match in Melbourne.
Yeah.
One of our regulars on Cricket 360.
Amazing.
So it will be quite a sight for him. I have been at the MCG, and it is quite a place, particularly when a test match is on. But Anand, your quick thoughts before we end the show?
Yeah, I think India have some happy memories of the Melbourne. We've had some good victories. Mine goes back to 81 when we had that famous victory when we bundled out Australia in their attempt to chase 143 in the second innings. I remember that. And of course, the last time, 2021, who will forget that after the debacle, 36 for 9, the very next test, it was turned around thanks to Ajinkya Rahane's 100, and we turned it around. So we have happy memories of Melbourne. We look forward to it. I think India, it suits these, both Melbourne and Sydney would suit Indians a bit better than the other 3 venues that we played on. So let's see. I think the Indian batsmen, at the very least, can now say that they have wickets to their satisfaction, if I will. So let's see. I mean, I'm just hopeful that the Indian batsmen turn it around, and the bowlers kind of follow suit as well.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention, we're talking about MCG and its grandeur and just the magnificence of the stadium. I was watching the Pakistan second one day in Cape Town yesterday. Wow, is Cape Town quite a beautiful stadium. Oh my God, with the mountains and the sun setting and the clouds. What a dream stadium. Absolutely.
I have been to Newlands, and I've also been to Dharamshala, and try and pick a more picturesque cricket ground between these two was a tough ask, but Dharamshala might just have the edge compared to. But Newlands is just beautiful. The tabletop mountains in the background are just absolutely stunning. So on that picturesque note, this is Dr. Nilesh Mehta with all the Cricket 360 fans. Thank you to Professor Anand Desai from Mumbai, and thanks to Dr. Jalal Baig from Chicago.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Thank you.